And
Hey, welcome back to the channel, and of course if you're new here, please consider subscribing, and if you are already a subscriber, thank you very much. Consider joining the channel membership, only $1 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive videos, pre-release videos, and a little bit more. So consider doing that, helps the channel out a lot. Today I am reviewing the Topo Magnifly 5, and this is look and fly in that cool blue colorway. Now I'd like to thank Topo for sending me this pair of shoes for the purpose of review, but know that all thoughts, opinions, and experiences are genuine. They're my own. They're not paying me or influencing me to say anything for this video. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the build, we're going to talk about the comfort, we're going to talk about the performance, and then lastly the value. But before we get to all that, voiceover Chad, why don't you tell us about some specs and features of the Magnifly 5.
Topo states, the critically acclaimed zero-drop cushioned platform now features our updated zip foam midsole for an even softer, lighter, and more responsive ride. The recycled engineered mesh upper gets a fresh look for a more modern aesthetic. Lace up in the Magnifly 5 and hit the ground running in unparalleled comfort. As for some of the specs and features, you get an anatomical and roomy toe box, Ortholite performance insole, recycled engineered mesh upper, lace loops, as I call them, that hold the tongue in place, zip foam EVA midsole, 25mm heel and toe stack for a zero drop, 246 grams or 8.7 ounces in a men's size 9, and coming in at $135 US MSRP. Chad, back over to you.
All the B-roll footage that you're seeing in this video was recorded after this run. I've ran in this shoe a handful of times over the last couple weeks, almost exclusively, racking up over 50 miles. And I'm struggling with the right way to explain this shoe. Perhaps the best way is zero drop simplicity. It's the simplicity of this shoe that makes it so good. Have you ever put your feet in a shoe that is lightweight, somewhat minimalistic, and there's just something about it that feels good? That's how I would describe the Magnifly 5. It's simple, not overly built, lightweight. It is the simplicity of the shoe that makes it so great. So speaking of the build, you have nothing really special about it, which sounds harsh, but that's a good thing. The outsole rubber seems like it's gonna last a long time. It's maybe a little thicker than it really needs to be, and it's placed on the shoe where you need it and not where you don't. The midsole, zip foam midsole, only 25mm a stack, so it's somewhat minimalistic by today's standards. It's soft enough, responsive enough, but it definitely allows your foot to move and adapt to the terrain. Just allows for really good natural foot movement, which is a really good thing. I like that about this shoe. The upper is also really nice. The toe box allows your toes to splay out, again enhancing that natural movement, simplistic feeling in the shoe. The upper is very breathable and adapts well to your foot. There's no real additional overlays or structural reinforcements, but even so, I don't know that you need it in this shoe. It just, I don't know, again, it's the simplicity that makes this shoe work so well. You also get on the tongue, I'll show you, you get these lace loops that the lace loops through, and that actually does a great job at holding the tongue in place. I'm at mile 15 of my 20-mile run, and the tongue on these shoes has not moved at all, which is really, really nice. Speaking of the tongue, it's moderate to lightly padded, but you get some nice, not overly dense, but not too airy of a foam padding in that tongue. It does a really good job at protecting the top of your foot from the laces. The laces are also soft, not very stretchy, but they lay nice and flat across the top of your foot, which is really nice as well. And now I'm starting to get into the comfort of the shoe. So just to wrap up the build, again, it's simple. Don't have a lot of extra stuff on the shoe. It's just a simple upper on a zero drop piece of somewhat soft foam, and below that is that outsole rubber that does an adequate job. Never had any concerns. So the shoe is just a simple build, nothing complex about it, but that's what makes it work so well. You have a nice single piece upper that's breathable, adapts to your foot well, it wraps around your foot comfortably. Now I'll get to how I would use this shoe going forward in a little bit, but I'm gonna give the build of this shoe a 8 out of 10. So now let's talk about the comfort of the shoe. So comfort is a little confusing in this shoe. Let me explain. The comfort of the upper is really nice. I mean, it's lightweight, wraps around your foot well. You have some good cushioning on the tongue. The laces lay even across the top of your foot. There's just really no complaints about the comfort of the upper. I really, really like it, even though it's super simple in design. But where it starts to get a little confusing is underfoot in that midsole. So you're only getting 25 millimeters of stack, which by today's standards, it's not that much. That zip foam midsole is a good compound. It is soft, but I feel like this shoe could benefit from having 5 more millimeters of stack. So bump it up to, 30 millimeters of stack or so. This shoe is said to compete against the Ultra Torn 7, which is another zero drop shoe. But I think if it's going to compete against that shoe, then Topo, you may want to add some more midsole stack to this shoe. But that said, I like the shoe as it is. I find that I'm enjoying this shoe, using it as not a daily trainer, but as my kind of recovery, easy day type of shoe. I also wouldn't use this shoe how I'm using it today on a long run. Yeah, I'm at mile 16 of my 20-mile run right now, but I think this shoe is gonna work best for your shorter runs, no more than 10 miles or so. So, spoiler alert, that's how I'm gonna use this shoe going forward for those easy recovery runs that are less than 10 miles long. So how would I rank comfort? Up to an 8 out of 10. Before I get into the performance of the shoe, let me know if you have any questions or thoughts on the Topo Magnifly 5. Is this a shoe you're considering, you're interested in, or would you rather spend your money on something else? Speaking of spending your money on something else, I mentioned the Ultra Torn. I have the Ultra Torn 7 and I will be reviewing it. So again, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. But that shoe is $15 more expensive. Now I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. So let's kind of wrap up the performance and the value in one little discussion here. For $135, I think that is a good and competitive price, and it's $15 cheaper than the Ultra Torn 7. From a performance perspective, if you're getting this shoe for those easy runs, those recovery type runs, and if you want a shoe that just feels somewhat minimalistic but very natural feeling underfoot, this is a pretty good option. In fact, I dare say that I have not run in another shoe that feels like my foot can move this naturally. Just like the underfoot feel, even though there's not much cushioning, my toes can splay out. And again, it's that simplicity that makes the shoe work so well. And it allows my foot to just feel the ground really well. And that's a good sensation. Well, I don't know if this is all making sense, but overall performance, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. And overall value, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 as well. Okay, my concluding thoughts. I hope this is making sense. I feel like I'm kind of having a really hard time articulating my thoughts and feelings in this shoe. I think considering that there aren't a lot of zero drop running road shoe options on the market, there's a few out there, of course, but I feel like this is one of those shoes worth considering. Just know that you're not gonna get an overly plush feeling in the shoe, but I think that's what makes this shoe work. It's a simple design, well put together, an overall quality build that's really comfortable overfoot. I would recommend checking out this shoe. I'm gonna use this shoe going forward. I'll continue to run in it for those easier runs where I'm running less than 10 miles. I think the Topo Magnifly 5 has a place in your running rotation, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it as your daily go-to trainer. I think you have a different shoe for those daily, more regular miles and those long runs. And then when you need it, you pull out the Magnifly 5 and there's just something simplistic that you can enjoy with it underfoot. So I think that's all I really need to say about the shoe. Again, if you have any thoughts or questions, comments, drop them down below. I'll be sure to respond. And I appreciate you checking out this video. All right, I only have a couple more miles left to wrap up my 20-mile long run today. It's been a gorgeous morning. Appreciate you being here. Stay tuned because I have a lot more gear and shoe reviews, some trail runs, some races, a whole lot more to share with you. So stay tuned for more. In the meantime, remember to be consistent, express gratitude, and enjoy every mile as I am today in the Topo Magnifly 5. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for being here with me. Bye now. Always got to come back for the camera.